Jeremy Colby. Um, I live recovery. I love recovery. I often share that I'm in love with my recovery. It's who I am today. Um, a lot of people say they might say they're ashamed of their addiction. Some people hide it. You know what I mean? I wear it completely on my sleeve. I'm in a sense grateful for it because I get to be me today because I went through addiction. If not for addiction, I definitely wouldn't be working here. I wouldn't be helping others. And that's the best reason I have to wake up in the morning. Next to family, of course. My job is the best reason I have. I feel important, I'm good at it. I know I'm good at it. And I just love people in general. What better way to do a people job than to help them, So I've been in recovery 4 years now, going on 4 years in November, Creator willing. I've got my kids back in my life because of recovery, because I have to be careful not to take too much credit because it's like only a small part of me. It's a much bigger part of Creator that has done this. So I have to thank him every day, every night. The best way I think I can do that is by doing my job to the best of my ability. So.
But what's your story?
So I started using at a young age. Started like everybody else, or pretty much everybody else is with pot. And right away, like that was the most important thing I had in my life. I wanted it all the time. I thought it was the fun of it that I wanted, but what I wanted was the numbing effect. I had a pretty tough childhood. My father was abusive. I was the youngest sibling, and my siblings tended to call me slow, call me stupid, really put me down. So my confidence level started out low, and it was low for a long time. Drugs and alcohol kind of took that away, made me feel confident, made me look confident. I was able to interact with people, and that in itself was an addiction that I could only suffice with drugs and alcohol. Pretty quickly, I was using pain pills. Again, as soon as I did it, it was the most important thing in my life. In my younger years, my 20s, my addiction peaked, and then it would taper and peak and taper. And then in my late 20s, I found heroin, and it peaked and it stayed that way for quite a while. Drug my ex-wife and my kids through the mud for 6 years or something, and at one point we found ourselves living in Springfield, Ohio, living in a crackhead motel is what they called it. I don't know, a rundown motel. It was we were there for 7 months somehow. 3 kids, 1 baby. She was a year and a half old, and in the time it was like, well, I don't have anything else I can do. This is fine. I'll be, but in hindsight, I'm looking back on it. I'm like, man, I can't believe I allowed that. Having that burden, having that guilt and shame that I carried, I was never actually able to find true recovery. I was taking Suboxone, which Suboxone is an effective treatment, so long as it's used correctly. And I wasn't using it correctly. I would take it for 5 days and then stop for 5 days so I could start again, start the whole cycle over again. And did that for years. I don't know how I maintained that for years, but I did. And then pretty soon it ran out, and the only thing I had to fall back on was more drugs. So I ended up doing meth, and that turned me into something that I just, just a whole new monster. I found myself living on the streets at that point for 5 years. It was, at first, like I was telling myself that this is freedom. I don't have any responsibilities. I can kind of do what I want. And I was lying to myself, making, sugarcoating it. Winters were really hard, obviously. Dead summers were hard. I probably got heat stroke a few times, and I still kept at it. And I ended up in jail for like 8 months. Finally got out, and my cousin, like the only supporter I had, he picked me up and brought me back to his house, and wanted to help me, and he was helping me. I still relapsed once, and ended up like leaving, and I wandered for about 2 weeks in Salt Lake and in psychosis, and that was finally enough for me. I ended up checking into an emergency room, telling them that I was in, that I was having a panic attack and I needed help, and I was really just coming down really hard from the 2 week long meth binge, because I was out of meth at that time, and I really did want it. I really did want help. I really did just want to get off the streets. I was scared. I was lost, and again in psychosis. Like I must have wandered for 2.5 days, and I don't know how I got from one point to another. Lost my bike in that time, and doing all this stuff. I thought I was dreaming, but apparently I wasn't dreaming. It was like sleepwalking kind of. So I walked out of the emergency room, and they told me they were going to send me to the VOA. They had a cab coming, and it took about 20 minutes. And in that 20 minutes, I had realized that I had just a teeny tiny bit of heroin. And I hadn't done heroin in a long time. I just had it for whatever reason. And I thought, I can get away with doing that real quick. And I almost died in the hospital because of that heroin. It was just a little bit, but it was enough for somebody that didn't have a high enough immunity to it to OD. I walked out of there somehow on my own strength. I know how. Creator had a plan for me. So I walked out of there. I went to the VOA, and I ended up in the psych ward for about 1.5 weeks. I just couldn't take the come down. It was so hard. And eventually I made it into Odyssey House. Was there for about 2 months. In this time frame, my mom was in a nursing home here in Tooele. And Odyssey House was in Salt Lake, and she was on her deathbed. She was, having strokes or seizures or whatever. And they said, get ready. You need to get your family together because she's going to go soon. And I was at Odyssey House, and Odyssey House is very, very strict about people leaving. And I needed to get out of there. I needed to get closer to my mom. And there was a treatment center right across the street from her. Right across the street from where she was in a nursing home at, and I found my so to speak sea legs there. I found my connection with my higher power, and I have to rephrase that because I didn't find it. I didn't have to find it. It was always there. I always had Creator there. It was it's a matter of learning how to not ignore it. And after I figured that out, I looked back on my past, and it's like it was always there. There was always some signs there, some nudges. Like, I usually went the wrong way, for the last 20 years, but there was certain key moments in my past that I could look back on. I could say, if I would have just went that way, then it would have been the right way. Like, and there was so much telling me to go that way, but no, I refused because that way was sobriety and this way was drugs. I wanted those drugs. So, I spent about 4 months in that treatment center, and I hit the ground running. I was ready for it. I didn't want to go back. The stories saved my life, and that's why I wanted to do this here, because hearing so many people's stories about their recovery, about how they turn things around, and that their life is so much better now without it. I was like, I want that. I truly want that so badly.
What does it feel like when you're in that moment where you feel like it's not possible to have that?
It used to be normal. It used to be exactly how I felt about everything. It was the whole reason why I dropped out of school over and over again, and just because I thought I wasn't capable. I thought I was meant to be broken my whole life. And it's funny because back then it was normal, and then there came a point to where, like, I couldn't figure out which way it was normal, whether it was the way it used to be or the way I knew it could be someday. So I was torn at that point in time, and then something changed again, and now I can't even believe that it was me that was in that lifestyle before, like, compared to who I am now. And when I say that, I always feel like I'm like tooting my own horn, that's my ego. Like I know what's in my heart, and that's definitely in my heart. And sharing that, I know I'm saving lives. So I go to meetings. I do everything I can. I'm still working the 12 steps every day. Because I know that that's what Creator wants. He wants me to continue to make my life better. So today I'm a case manager. I've been working in recovery for going on 2 years. I own my own business. I haven't got it up and running yet, but I own it. It's like I'm registered, I'm licensed. I've got wheels greased and ready to go. So never thought in a million years that I'd be doing any of this, especially extra, and like, I know I struggled my whole life. I always tell myself, I'm gonna get up early tomorrow and I'm gonna go find a job and I'm gonna do all these things and live life right. And I could never get up. I could never wake up, because I wasn't doing the right things to prepare for, you know what I mean? I'd be up till 2 a.m. and think I'm gonna get up at 6. And today I wake up early and before the sun. That's a recent development for me. But I'm like, I came to this point and I realized that when life pushes me, I need to push back harder. When I think, okay, I can't make a mile, I can't make that mile run, I turn the speed up and I go 3/4 of a mile more or another mile more, because I know I can. I don't have to live that way anymore. I don't have to doubt myself anymore. I see the progress I make for myself, but I see the progress that I make for others too, and that's that key that I've been looking for my whole life. So
I love that. Sounds like you said it's like you almost it's like your new fuel, essentially, right? It's your newfound, I guess, high in life is just living it.
Yes.
What's that feel like now with kids and your wife and?
Natural. Feels right. Feels like I don't know if you ever done puzzles before. A real hard one. You finally find that piece that fits after searching and searching and searching. That's what it feels like. That's it's like we're winning the world championship.
What has your journey meant to you up to this point?
What has my journey meant to me? Everything. Absolutely everything. It's been the one thing I needed the most my whole life. Like I said, it was like that key that finally fits the lock, and I've opened it, and now I've got all this room to stretch and do whatever I want. And again, my ego comes in, and it's like, but it's so late. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah, it is late. It definitely is. But it happened when it was supposed to happen. And it happened anyway. It's, it's better late than never. So I'm just doing what I can with it. And hopefully my kids see it. I got a 2-year-old son. And just like any dad or any kid that has a dad that's around, he looks up to his dad and he watches what his dad does. And I remember when I was 2, what I watched from my dad was not what I want him to watch from me. I love my dad. My dad changed his ways later in life, but those first 10 years are so important. And my older kids, they got deprived of that too. They watched their dad. I don't want to say it was me, even though it was. They watched their dad ruin his life, ruin their life, almost die. And I don't want that for him. I know how to give him better now. Before I didn't, but now I do. So there was pieces of my dad was always around. But he was angry. And he had a mis upbringing as well. And that's he lived the way he was taught to live. I remember distinctly so many times. He was a janitor. And janitors used to carry that big lock of keys. So when we would hear it, we could kind of tell what kind of mood he was in. You know what I mean? Because if he was mad, it would be dink, 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 shaking real hard. But if he was in a good mood, you barely hear it. And it would be kind of a calming sound. We feared that sound, that hard, fast rattle of the keys, just because that usually meant he was angry.
So if you had to tell anyone out there, maybe in your position, sharing with what you've shared with me, what would you tell someone that saw this, that's in your position?
People can change. Don't have high expectations for it, because that might hurt in the end. I would hope not, but give them patience, give them the love that they obviously need, and allow them time to change. We live in a society where a lot of us are sick, and that's all it is. We're all sick. It's really hard not to judge, but because of the society we live in, we try to remember that judgment just fuels it more. Compassion is a very good answer to a lot of it.
Awesome. And what are you most proud of? Look over your journey.
My recovery. Besides my connection with my Creator, is my recovery. I tell a lot of people this, and even my kids. My kids have to know this too. The number one most important thing is my connection with my higher power. The second is my recovery. Then it's my family. It's really hard to say that, but at the same time, it's not so hard to say it, because I know without my recovery, I won't have my have anything. And without my higher power, I won't have my recovery. So order of importance is definitely key in that.
And lastly, I'd say what's next for you?
Well, that's up to creator. You know, I have been quote unquote successful since going into recovery because I allow creator to make the decisions. Even with this new business that I have, I had the idea, I had the thoughts, and I was like, yeah, you know, that would be kind of cool. But then it was like, I didn't do it. Like, I don't feel like I did some of it, you know. What I tell people is, sure, I have to get up and walk through that door that creator opened, but creator has to open it, and then he has to give me the willingness to get through that door. I'm a very small part of that, you know, 1/3 of the recipe. So yeah, the next is the same thing I did the last time, is I just follow creator. I ask him for his guidance, and I ask him for the willingness to accept that wisdom and guidance, and I just do my best to do the next right thing.
Are you comfortable sharing what your business idea is, or what?
Yeah, no, that's fine. So it's starting out like I just scrubbing garbage cans. Yeah, the inside of you know, the city garbage cans. It's people need it done. They want it done, and I've got some good ideas for advertisement and stuff. I wanted to. I'm hoping that it can expand to other things. Some other, like, because there's a lot of things that people just either don't have time for, or they just don't want to do. You know, so I'm trying to add more things, cleaning out dryer vents and stuff like that. So eventually, hopefully, I'll get there.
I mean, I've seen those trucks. I think there's some that, like, I actually saw one at Walmart at the gas station there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like trash bin cleaning service. I've seen commercials for it where, like, a truck comes around like a garbage type truck and it picks your can out, sprays it all out and cleans it. Is it kind of like that, but you do the commercial size?
Yeah. I don't like using a lot of water, so I use a power scrubber. At least that's my idea. It seems to work. How
steady is your business or traction?
Like I said, I haven't got it going yet. I'm still working on a few loose ends that I need to tie up, and hopefully be going by next week, I think.
Just don't forget us, bro, when it gets too big, you know?
Yeah, of course not. No, that's the thing. Like I told myself, I told my higher power, and I told my family that no matter what happens, I'm gonna stick with what I'm doing in the daytime, because money's not what I need for happiness. What I do here is what I need for happiness. So, not saying that they can get away without paying me, though. I often explain it as weights in a gym. Like the more weight you have, the stronger you are. You gotta be careful with how you lift it, and, you know, work your way up to it. And luckily, I didn't try to do it all at once. It was a gradual thing that, you know, that got me there.
Yeah.
I'm not glorifying it at all. I'm just saying that I'm stronger because I did go through it. So.